Florida may be known as the Sunshine State, but hurricanes, floods, and tornadoes can turn our calm, sunny surroundings into life-threatening chaos.
For local weather, turn to the Bay News 9 weather experts.
Bay News 9 has always stayed ahead of the curve, employing the most up-to-date technology to predict severe weather and warn you. Now we've gone one step further with Klystron 9.
There's no other radar in the world like this radar. You're going to get the first of its kind.
Billy Walker built the first television radar nearly 40 years ago. He says Klystron 9 is the future.
We'll be able to see through very dense rainfall, such as you would have in tornadoes or in hurricanes, and see the rain coming behind that. And also we'll be able to see the light stuff like sea breezes, fires.
It starts with the transmitter that puts out a whopping 1.25 million watts of power. Unlike the Magnetron tube you'll find at other stations, this Klystron tube maximizes that energy, giving our radar a 400% greater range than other Dopplers. That means we're the only station with the ability to see storms moving through northern Citrus County as they happen. Add to that pulse compression, which makes the radar even more powerful. Now we'll no longer have to tell you the storms are in the Gulf at an extended range past the radar because they're now in our radar range. Finally, dual pole technology. You've heard us talk about it. It lets us literally measure the size and shape of raindrops, so you'll know whether there's a risk of flooding or large hail near your home.
It is absolutely the most powerful television radar that has ever been built, and quite possibly the most powerful weather radar in the entire world.
With 5 times the power of other TV radars, we'll be able to detect serious wind conditions at twice the range of other Doppler radars and with 40 times better resolution. To give you an idea, here's how a typical radar showed a recent thunderstorm. Now, here's what Klystron 9 saw at the same time. Not only will Klystron 9 be able to pick up tornadoes that would get lost on typical radars, we'll be able to pick up high winds inside thunderstorms and better see rain bands from tropical storms and hurricanes. When you need an accurate forecast, there's only one place to turn: Bay News 9. Now with Klystron 9, we'll keep you in the know and keep you safe from the storm.
It's a device so special it has its own room and its own power supply. This is a Klystron tube, and it's so exceptional, it's the reason for the name Klystron 9. Klystron technology was first developed back in 1937. The Axis powers used it during World War II for their radar system.
The new radomes that we're buying right
Billy Walker, the engineer behind Klystron 9, actually used the technology in his days working with NASA in the 60s. At the time, capsules disappeared from the radar when they re-entered the atmosphere. Klystron changed that.
We could pick them up in the Pacific and carry them until they splashed in the Atlantic, which was a real big feat back in those days.
Now Walker and the team at Barron Services have found a way to put that technology to use in weather radars, and Bay News 9 is the first and only station in the world to get it.
We're very excited about being able to place the radar in your facilities. The opportunity to bring the world really to your doorstep there in Tampa is something that's very exciting for us.
The Klystron tube takes the power coming off the transmitter and uses it to its fullest potential. Traditional radars use magnetron tubes. You could think of it like an AM radio. Their lack of stability means their frequency is likely to drift. They need more power, and even with it, the signal tends to fade. Klystron, on the other hand, is more like FM radio. It's remarkably stable, requires less power, and provides more clarity, more detail, and more accurate information.
You'll be able to see velocity patterns out through 150 miles easily, and that again is really the result of this new processing capability with a very, very stable signal.
That's 400% more range than other TV stations. It means we'll be able to see the most dangerous parts of storms live. That's something no other TV radar can do anywhere. It also makes it possible to manipulate the signal to cut through the clutter, showing only the weather we want to see. I'm meteorologist Josh Linker, Bay News 9.
There are times in Florida when a little rain is just a little rain.
This is just incredible.
But there are days like February 3rd, 2006. In just a few hours, more than 8 inches of rain fell on Tampa Bay. We knew the rain was coming, but what no one could predict was just how big those raindrops would be. Back then, Doppler radars only sent out radio waves horizontally. When the pulses hit something, they bounced off and returned to the dish. We knew something was in the atmosphere. We didn't know exactly what was there. Now, dual polarization lets us do so much more. Radio waves transmit vertically and horizontally. That additional information tells us the size and shape of raindrops, an important difference between heavy rain and light rain. Dr. Chandra is one of the minds behind the creation of dual polarization. He says with dual polarization, rainfall estimates are 2 to 3 times more accurate than traditional Dopplers.
You can have a lot of tiny drizzle particles, but a whole bunch of them, as opposed to a few small drops that make up rain. The regular single polarization radar cannot tell the difference between the two, whereas dual polarization will be able to see that.
As an added bonus, Klystron 9 can also tell the difference between rain, wind, tornado debris, or even some other object in the sky. The National Weather Service thinks dual pol is so important, they're planning to upgrade all of their radars to dual pol in the next 3 to 5 years. Dan Noah, the warning coordination meteorologist, considers it a breakthrough in weather forecasting.
From a meteorologist standpoint, we're going to have better data and we can make more informed decisions about when to warn the public about hazardous weather so they can protect themselves and their families.
The National Weather Service predicts dual pol radar can save around $6.9 million a year by improving precipitation estimates. It can reduce the impact of hazardous weather on national transportation and has the ability to improve flash flood watches and warnings, all with increased confidence by meteorologists. For you, that means Klystron 9 and our team of meteorologists here at Bay News 9 will have the most accurate data possible. When severe weather threatens, there's only one place to turn for the information you need to stay safe. I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez, Bay News 9. Consider it like the difference between this tent and this futuristic Category 5 hurricane-proof dome home. Both have the same goal, to keep out the sun, the rain, and other harmful effects of Mother Nature. But the two are oh so different. So too are the differences between a traditional dome covering a weather radar and our brand new Klystron 9 Radome.
They have hydrophobic coating which sheds the water.
Most radomes, including our old one, simply block the rain from the equipment inside, kind of like a tent. But when raindrops hit this dome, a special coating causes the water to literally fall off. Even more importantly, though, is what the new radome means for radar distortion, or lack thereof.
Anything that tends to twist the RF beam, in other words, I'm transmitting this to measure something that's round or oblong like a hamburger bun, and if I tilt this, say 45 degrees, I get a different look at the hamburger bun than what the mathematics inside thinks it is, so I don't get a good answer.
The wrong answer could mean missing important details we need to predict a coming storm. But with this special radome, that's no longer a concern.
The new radomes that we're buying right now have in the millirads of actual beam distortion on them.
That's science speak for almost no distortion. To the radar, looking through the dome is like you looking through a plane of glass. Putting together a radome is no simple task either. It was delivered in pieces, one by one, like a puzzle. A team of workers carefully bolted it together. Once it's together, in comes the crane to lift it high above the radar and slowly lowers it down. The white dome will stay this way. No logo, no wording, because any changes to dress it up could mean the difference between incorrect information and data that could save your life. I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez, Bay News 9.
It spins on its base twice a minute, sending and receiving signals, gathering data to help keep you safe from severe weather.
Klystron 9 transmits 1.25 million watts, but despite having that much energy, engineer Billy Walker says it's like a microwave on the defrost mode.
It's just on, off, on, off. So where the radar is, it transmits on, off also. So there's not a million watts there all the time.
And the radar spends much more time receiving signals than transmitting. As far as electricity used, your normal home air conditioner actually uses more. The radar runs very efficiently and only produces peak power in short pulses. Add to that the system is in constant rotation. If the rotation ever stops for any reason, a safety measure cuts off the power to the radar.
So For it to harm you, it would have to be pointed directly at you for some period of time, and the answer is, at the end of 15 seconds, we turn it off.
It's all part of a requirement by the FCC before they even grant approval for the radar to be used. Even for those people living just below the radar, Walker says there's no risk. For one, it's up 100 feet. Also because, for as powerful as it is, the signal coming off of the antenna is actually very small.
Coming off of the antenna is going to be like this, about the size of a basketball, okay? So unless you're right in line with that and the antenna stops and you sit there for 30 minutes, you're not going to get hurt.
With all these technological advances combined in one piece of equipment, even this radar pioneer says it's something he's proud to be a part of.
You never know what your calling in life is, you know? And I look at this and the next rad upgrade both as another step forward in technology in the future. And having a part of that, if we save just one life, you know, I can say that maybe I did contribute something to mankind.
With all these precautions, Klystron 9 becomes a life-saving tool with no risk to people around it. I'm Bay News 9 meteorologist Diane Kaczmarek.